John Kennedy is now joining us. Senator Kennedy, appreciate your time. Can you jump on what we are hearing here from the Inspector General report and what you've heard so far, your reaction?
Sandra, power does not change you, it unmasks you. I believe for a long time, and this report confirms it, Mr. Comey is a meathead. He's a political hack. He hurt the FBI badly. Do FBI agents and FBI directors have political beliefs? Sure they do, but they're not supposed to act on them. The FBI should not be a political body. And Mr. Comey acted like a political operative while he was FBI director and every day since, and it's just sleazy. And I think Chris Wray has a lot of work to do to regain the confidence of the American people for the FBI.
So when FBI future directors and agents come before you in the Senate or before the House of Representatives, you're going to be looking at them with a raised eyebrow? Is that what you're saying?
Well, you have to now. And look, 99% of the men and women of the FBI are all of whom have personal beliefs, are just professionals. But more important than Congress's reaction, I don't want Americans, if an FBI agent knocks on their door, to have to be worried about, well, is he a Democrat or a Republican? He's an FBI agent. His politics is not supposed to matter. And Mr. Comey, and I believe this before the report came out, but now it's confirmed. I mean, he just cheapened the premier law enforcement agency in all of human history. He ought to hide his head in the bag.
Well,
it's just not right.
He's responding, Senator, and he tweeted out immediately upon the release of this report a portion of the IG's finding, no evidence, he puts in quotations, that Comey or his attorneys released any of the classified information contained in any of the memos to members of the media. He then wrote, I don't need a public apology from those who defame me, but a quick message with a sorry we lied about you would be nice. That is his response. He has also tweeted this, and to all those who have spent 2 years talking about me going to jail or being a liar and a leaker, ask yourselves why you still trust people who gave you bad info for so long, including the president. By the way, we just got word from the White House. There's no reaction, no official statement from the White House yet. Obviously, we do expect one shortly. But Senator Kennedy, the Department of Justice, in its release of this report, put out a statement. At the end of it, it concludes this. Upon completing the investigation, the OIG provided its factual findings to the Justice Department for a prosecutorial decision regarding Comey's conduct, as required by the Inspector General Act. After reviewing the matter, the DOJ declined prosecution. So that is obviously directly what James Comey is responding to.
Well, just because it's not criminal in the opinion of the Department of Justice doesn't mean it's not sleazy. Now, in terms of Mr. Comey's response, I think it's pretty apparent to the American people at this juncture that Mr. Comey is not exactly Mensa material. He never should have been appointed head of the FBI. And his problem is that he's often wrong, but he's never in doubt. And this is just one more example.
I want to bring Andy McCarthy back in. Andy, I know you've been having a chance. Senator Kennedy, if you could just stand by for a minute. Andy McCarthy, can you add your thoughts as we continue to make our way through this nearly 80-page report?
Well, look, my thoughts are mainly sadness. I really, as somebody who knows Jim Comey for 30 years and them even in disagreeing with him, I think that this is a moment where it would be nice to have, quiet introspection. I hate to see him make comments which indicate that, if you manage to stay one step ahead of indictment, you've somehow vindicated yourself, when he was always my kind of idea of a public servant who got the point that, you needed to hold yourself to a higher standard than that. So I'm hoping that, he'll take the time and reflect on what's happened here and maybe have a better take on it in the coming days.
Okay. If everybody could just stand by with us as this news continues to break and we make our way through this. Catherine Herridge in Washington, of course, Andy McCarthy, thank you. Bob Bianchi here in our A team is standing by. Senator Kennedy, if we could bring you back into the situation, there's a lot of other news we've been watching today, some of which, if we could take everything down to the southern border, the DHS blocking some of these Democrats from touring the border after they were interfering with law enforcement operations at the border. They were extending the amount of time they were given at the border longer than they were supposed to. If you could react to that this morning, as it is another one of our top stories.
Whether you're a member of Congress or not, if you go to the border, you have to follow the rules. It's not the Big Rock Candy Mountain down there, Sandra. It's a law enforcement crisis. If somebody follows the rules and they're a member of Congress, they should be allowed to go. But if they don't, they shouldn't. But let's face what this is all about. Not all of them, but many of my Democratic friends now believe in open borders. They think anybody who wants to come into America should be able to come in. They should be eligible for welfare and food stamps and free health care. And they should be able to stay on those programs as long as they want. And if you disagree with my Democratic friends, you're a racist. Now, they're entitled to their opinion, but I'm entitled to mine. I think their argument is pernicious. I think it's malign. I think it's on the pipe crazy. I think vetting people who want to come into your country is not racist. It's prudent, if for no other reason but public safety. And every country that I'm aware of vets people before they come into their country. And that's really what this is all about. It's open borders versus enforcing America's immigration laws. Now, all my Democratic friends don't believe that, but more and more do, and it'd be a lot more intellectually honest if instead of playing games and continuing to throw up roadblocks and try to interfere with law enforcement at the border, if they just say, hey, we believe in open borders.
I want to put up a quote from a senior official at the Department of Homeland Security who says this: due to the operational burden placed on the field, that's field agents, by their refusal to comply with instruction during last week's staff delegation, Customs and Border Protection pulled the trip in which more site visits were to take place at CBP and ICE facilities this week. DHS communicated to the committee that due to their conduct, CBP could not support visits from the committee this week. Now, critics of this proposal have said that it's just politics, that it's just Department of Homeland Security trying to embarrass the Democrats. Your reaction?
Well, the rule of law is not politics. There are rules, law enforcement rules at the border. Let me say it again. It's not the Big Rock Candy Mountain down there. It's a law enforcement crisis. At one point, I think it's a little bit better, we had 4,000 to 5,000 people a day coming in. And I don't care who you are, Democrat or Republican, House member, Senate member, you got to follow the rules. And if you're going to go down there and not follow the rules, then at a minimum, you should be told you can't come. I mean, to me, it's just as simple as that. Now, all of my colleagues on the Democratic side, I don't want to paint with too broad a brush. Many of them are in good faith, but there's some who go down there and they do everything they can to disrupt law enforcement. They hate border security. They hate Border Patrol. They hate ICE. They believe in open borders. And if you disagree with them, you're a racist. And I just think that's on the pipe crazy.
The Trump administration has been criticized for diverting FEMA funds, emergency preparedness funds, to ICE and Border Patrol for the southern border situation. It has also come to light that the Obama administration did the same thing, and the numbers are pretty staggering. Back in 2014, the Obama administration diverted about $267 million from FEMA, $31 million from the Coast Guard, $35 million from Transportation Security Administration, and another $70 million from Customs and Border Protection. Total of $405 million. It's a bigger number than the Trump administration is talking about.
That's just one more example of some members of Congress and others just trying to throw a wrench into our law enforcement machinery. I mean, everybody who cares to look knows that agencies reprogram money all the time. Border Security, Border Enforcement, and FEMA, for example, are both under the Homeland Security Department. They reprogram money all the time. And we have to, because one of the things lost in this discussion of border security at our southern border is how outrageously expensive it is. I mean, we're spending billions of dollars in taxpayer money because Congress won't change the law to make it look like somebody designed it on purpose. And those billions of dollars are coming out of people's pockets, and they're being taken away from money that could be spent on cops and kids and roads. Nobody talks about the cost. We just had to give the department an extra $4 billion, that's 9 zeros, dollars a few months ago. I mean, this isn't a game. It's not a game. And I think it would be a lot easier and cheaper if my Democratic friends who want open borders would just come out and say it and say, we want open borders,
well, because
and let
many
everybody
of them
come
say
in and let's debate it.
That's not what they're arguing for. Just real quick, I know
that's what they say. But
we've got to take a quick break. Senator Kennedy, we really appreciate all your time, but really quick, your reaction to Georgia Republican Senator Johnny Isakson announcing that he's going to be resigning from the chamber end of the year. Republican reaction, and Senator Kennedy, your reaction to that.
In the Senate, not everybody who rides with you is riding for you. If you don't believe me, run out of gas and see who helps you push. Johnny Isakson is always first in line to help you push. He's just a good mate, a good man. He's also a warrior. If he thinks what you're proposing is going to hurt America or Georgia, he'll be right in your face. Johnny wouldn't leave if he didn't have to. I think he's just end of the year teacher tired, and he just can't go anymore, and I'm gonna miss him every day.
Cited health concerns as well, so our best to him. And Senator Kennedy, appreciate you coming on America's Newsroom. Thank you, sir.